So I want to do academics. I was very sure about since day one that I would want to get into academics.
Right.
So that is my career trajectory. That is where I'm headed. But are there other options? Yes, there are plenty of options. You could start with working at a think tank if that is what you consider non-academic, but it is still research. So you could always work at a think tank, working around policy and legal issues. You could work for the government. Uh, Especially now because most of the governments are looking at developing space laws and they want to harness interest and talent, especially pooling talent in space law expertise. So you could
Right.
always work with the government in terms of like most of the countries now have space commissions or space councils, especially working in space domain. So you could work with the government. You could work with now we have big consultancy groups setting up space wing or space department specifically just to research the market, research the policy, research the law aspect to basically consult their clients on how to set up a space company or how to go about the law. So we have a lot of I think in Europe one of the major big four consultancy groups have set up a space wing dedicated to space, so you could always work with that. You could of course always work with international organization if you make it through. There's UN offices for outer space. There are related offices in the UN which also work around a borderline area of outer space. Let's say disarmament, UNUDA, the disarmament office, which also looks at space domain for disarmament of space. And lastly, you could, of course, work at law firms, which there are now actually law firms who are invested quite heavily into developing space law domestic practices. So one of my colleagues, also Mekhil Passhouse, she worked for a law firm in New York before, and now she's working in London doing, I think, both space practices in both the firms. So definitely there are a lot of career options other than academics which are popping up, and they would only rise in next 5-6 years.